Okay, y'all, we on. We on here. Hey, everybody. Woo! Hey, y'all. Go ahead and start to like this live. Please comment on this live. Talk to us, okay? Go ahead and share this live. I'm gonna try to get my sisters on here. I know last week we was running into a little bit of technical difficulties, okay? But this week I think we're back and we better, honey. I think we back and we better. I'm gonna go ahead and share. Hold on now, y'all. Bam. Okay. So hopefully they get that and they can come on and we can go ahead and get this party started. I'm so excited. Let me see what's going on. Hold on, then give us a second. I promise you we're gonna get this thing together. And I know we said this last week. I know somebody, listen, I heard your spirit, okay? Somebody saying in their spirit, honey, y'all said y'all was gonna get this together last week. Okay. Okay, Shia, there you go.
I made it.
Now, where is Ebony?
I made it.
Okay,
hey, y'all. We made it.
We made it.
SetFree y'all sound so low. Why I can't hear y'all?
Can you turn up your phone all the way?
Turn your phone
up all the way. My volume. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, well, I guess that's just that.
Okay.
So y'all, family, I'm so excited. Welcome to episode of SetFree SistaHood, honey. Okay, Mother's Day edition. To all of the mothers who are logging in, go ahead and share it with your mama, share it with your sister, share it with your cousin, your aunties, them, and tell them, come on in the room, honey. Come on in the room and let's talk. Let's talk about some stuff. Let's discuss it. Let's dissect some stuff. Let's get into it. Okay, let's get into it. Our topic for today, before we get on topic for today, Sister Ashia Allen, how you feeling?
I am great. I am marvelous, baby. Can I just tell you that my spirit is so excited about what's about to happen tonight? And I don't even know what's about to happen, but I'm ready. How are you?
I feel good. Ebony, how you feeling?
You know what?
Evangelist Ebony, y'all. Evangelist
Ebony. I am super blessed. I'm super happy. I'm super excited. Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there, those who have stood in the gap and acted as mothers to children and to people. We thank you. We honor you today. And I am just like, honey, I have joy. Hey.
I have joy.
Yes, joy of the Lord, baby. Down in my heart.
Yeah, so we're going to get into tonight's conversation, family. And tonight's conversation is when life breaks you. When life breaks you. I feel like we have all been in a place where life has broken us down. Okay, life has broken us down and to the white meat. Life has broken us down to the white meat. You hear me? Listen, we were bleeding out. Life has broke us in ways that are unimaginable. Life has broke us in ways that our words can't even begin to describe, honey. So I want to jump into that. Like, how has life, what are some ways that life has broken you, Ebony?
Ooh, wow, I gotta go first.
You just set it off, sister.
I'm the set it off, sister. So we gonna set it off tonight. Let's see. Let's see. I have been broken in so many ways in my life, but I will just share a quick story with you. At a time when I was, coming out of high school, in a relationship, at this time in particular, this is an incident where I was broken in the midst of just trying to be that let me just rewind real quick, because sometimes this is what happens to us, right? we get in our head, or it was somewhere down the line that it was programmed in my mind. I'm going to speak for myself personally, that you get this boyfriend and you start doing all these wifely things, and you're not even married. You already, because you're looking at how your life was when you were living, you're looking at how your life was as a child growing up, what you saw your mom do, what you saw your aunts do, what you saw people do, right? So you see them get into relationships, and they're performing, they're cooking, they're cleaning, they're going to work, taking care of the kids, doing all these wifely duties and all these things, and you set in your head that, okay, that's what that's what we're supposed to do, that's what it looks like, right? That's what life is supposed to be like. At least that's what we think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you program your mind to think that. So I have this boyfriend, we've been dating, been going together, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, since high school or whatnot. And then, we graduate high school, find jobs, end up moving in together. Next thing you know, first of all, I was 2 months pregnant when I walked the stage. So we just gonna set that I was already pregnant. So me and my children's father, of course, we were together we moved in together. We got our own place. By the time our son was 1 year old, yeah, we was already in our own place.
Yeah.
So here we are. I have a 1-year-old. My son was probably almost 2, because my kids are almost 3 months apart. 3 years apart. So, this was a time when life broke me, when something had broken me, where the cheating, the infidelity, right? I'm over here, taking care of home, or thinking I'm taking care of home, going to work, doing all, like I said, performing these wifely duties when you're not a wife, you're just a girlfriend.
You're just the
Or
girlfriend, boo. Know your role.
you're just a girlfriend. You got to know your role in these situations. But again, like I said, based off of what you saw as a child growing up, you're seeing, your different family members, your mom, you're seeing your different family members go through relationships, and you seeing how they operate. So you're picking up on what you grew up around. So I just remember a time when I was, my son was probably almost 2. He's probably 2 years old, and I was pregnant with my daughter. And I remember, honey, I was so big, miserable, and pregnant. I barely used to be out. Like, my thing was go to work, go home, do the normal duties, and that's that. Well, you're stuck in that lifestyle, but your significant other over here is out here doing something else.
Yeah.
And I just remember it was a time in my life, it was a phase where it was like, we were young. We were making good money. I remember I had a Chrysler 300 on some 22s with music in it and all that, because that's what the streets like, right? And that's what he liked. Not knowing that car was the attention grabber for him. Because I barely used to like to drive the car, because I don't be needing all that attention, and I don't need all that loud music and all that stuff, that part. Anyways, fast forward, this, to find out that I am big and pregnant with my daughter, and to find out that my man, this is my man. We live together. We doing all this together. My man out here got a whole nother youngin' over here, a young girlfriend over here that he got thinking that maybe, I don't know, maybe she knew of me and didn't say nothing, or just, was playing her role just the way that I guess she needed to play the role.
Yeah.
And, being pregnant as a mom, you already have a child already. And I ain't here to bash nobody, to throw no shade or nothing. Granted, my children's father was a great father. He never missed a doctor's appointment or nothing when it came down to my children. But at the same time, you out here doing what you want to do. And then I finally caught on. Like, I was like, make it make sense. He cheated. I found out that he was cheating. So think about it. I have a 2-year-old child already. I'm big and pregnant right now. And then I find out this information, and that shattered me. That hurt me. That broke me. That took me to a place then here comes the enemy, because at the time you trying to process all of this, and you really not like, wait, hold on, wait, pause for a second. That broke me. That broke me in a way. It broke me. It hurt, because it's like, now it's like, okay, here I am pregnant with baby number 2, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with me. So now I'm questioning myself, and I'm like, what's wrong with me that I'm like, you cheating, you out here doing this? But again, I would say this, the streets, impressing the world, because the world will have you thinking, you're satisfying those people. You're satisfying your flesh. You're satisfying all those things, not even taking into consideration what you're doing to the person that you quote unquote love, right? So I would say just navigating that hurt, because that was a lot of hurt for me. Hurt because number one, I'm pregnant. Number two, it's like this what you think of me like, and I'm the mother. I'm carrying your children, your
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
Like, and I find out at this time, you find out at the most vulnerable time in your life is when you're pregnant. And it's like, okay, so here I am trying to be that mom and hold myself together for my children, just out of the sake of, I'm not trying to stress I'm pregnant. Like, I'm not trying to stress myself out to make me go in labor early or anything like that. So it was like, just trying to fight and navigate through that was traumatizing. And I'm gonna just say that was a trauma wound that introduced a trauma wound that also, not only did I suck it up, right, I probably didn't even really share it with anybody. Like, I didn't have nobody to go to like that. I think my aunt, like, she know everything about me, child. Probably went to her about it, but it was like, you created a wound, but it created a wound, but it also changed me as a woman. I was soft at that time. Like, I
Yeah.
wasn't, one of those nagging people like, I wasn't nagging you about nothing. You was free. You was doing what you want to do. You was going to the club every weekend. You was hanging out, and I'm over here at home just keeping it together, holding it all together.
Yeah.
While you out here at the house in me. And that to me, I would say, um, it changed me. It changed me into somebody else, because then you're thinking, okay, so what's wrong with me? You start
Right.
considering
It
all
started
the
making you
things that
question your
you
value.
you question your values as a person. You're trying to figure out, why am I not worthy of you to be doing right by me and all that. And it's like, you know what? Now, back then I did not know what I know now. So back then it was just, um you gotta add Ashia back to the call. She's saying add her
Yeah, I
back.
was
She's
just
not
looking.
on. So back then it was just like, okay, you know, now that already that was the seed of that insecurity. Like, that planted a seed of insecurity. You're not, because you're questioning, what's wrong with me? What's wrong
Right.
with me that you can't do
Right.
right or whatever? Because I'm not cheating on you. I'm not out here hurting you. So what's wrong with me? So that was a time in my life where I was broken, and I had to overcome that. And I just overcame that. Like, again, overcoming, I can't say that I had fully overcome it at the time, because it made me angry. It made me bitter. It festered up a lot of emotions. So it's like, as much as once you find out about something, then a person try to say they cut it off, or they did this, or they, no, I don't want to let you go. I want to be with you. I want to, you want to do this, you want to do that. We got to fix this. We got a family. We're going to work on this, and we're going to work on that. Okay, so the behavior changes for the moment, right? It only changes for a moment, just to get you, because that insecure alarm has already went off. That brokenness and all that stuff has already went off. So there's a lot of a flare of emotions and a lot of different things that fire up in you as an individual. And it's like, now you're trying to come back and calm me so that I can suppress those feelings that you done already gave me. But you don't know that this has changed me
And
drastically. It
you
changed
know what though?
me.
This happens like with so many women. It happens, and with so many men too. It happens, period, in relationships. And we get yoked to these people sometimes. And so I want to offer, right, a little bit of a perspective flip, right? Because this is something that I've had to learn, because so many times when somebody hurt us or break our heart or bring any type of trauma or pain our way, or heartache or confusion, we tend to question ourselves. We tend to question our worth. We tend to go back and be like, well, what's wrong with me? And the question shouldn't be what's wrong with me, but my God, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you that you don't have eyes to see?
Come on.
Huh? What is wrong with you that you can't recognize what's right here in front of you, baby. You landed on the gold mine.
Baby, I'm a
Hello,
prize.
Come on.
Okay.
Come
and
on.
then that even goes back to identity though, because so many times, right, we try to give this love that we don't even really know what love is. Can we just be honest? A
Hmm.
lot of us have a distorted perception when it comes to love. We do not know what love is. So we have to go back to the drawing board, and we have to really sit down and be like, okay, I know everything that they did, right? But what, and it's kind of like I want to go back and forth, because it's like I know everything that they did, and yeah, they messed up, yeah, they dogged me out, yeah, they did all this stuff. But at the same time, what is it in me that projected that in you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what pieces that I may need to tighten up? What pieces is it that I may need to fix? What pieces, that projected that in you to make you, do the things that you did? What was I giving you? What was it giving off to make you think a thought? To make you think a thought and pursue the action.
Yeah,
What was it?
that's good. That's a good place to be, right? So at the time, because again, I was way younger then, like, oh, I'm so much more mature now, so much more, in such a better place now. But I can say back then, the thought process of that, like, what is it about me that made you do this? Even when you ask that question, because the maturity level of the other party was also immature. So it's
Yeah,
like you can't even really give me a valid answer, but you're wanting me to stick this out with you and fix this and try to keep moving forward, right? But
yeah,
you already done planted this seed, right?
yeah.
You already done planted this seed.
The damage
And
is
Listen,
because
the
done.
deed is already done.
the deed is
You
already done,
did what
right?
you did.
You did what you did. But then the thing is, like, you know, I'm gonna say back then, you receive, you go to people that could, you're the older ones that you feel like you can get advice from or whatever,
Yeah,
during this time. And it's just like, okay, so I guess this what men do, that's what
You
that's
have
the
to
that's
be
the
wary of who you're going to, because they're sharing from their experiences, their point
exactly.
of views, not from wisdom or knowledge, but from their past and their pain.
and what
Yeah, so
they have accepted and never have really dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So you find yourself, but again, like I said, this was many, many, many years ago. My
Yeah,
son almost 20 years old now.
yeah.
But just going back to that,
You're
where that
smarter.
was
You're
a time
wiser
of
now,
brokenness.
honey.
And you think about it, you think about even the people that you were around, or even the people that you were receiving information from, or what you thought was wise counsel at the time, maybe they weren't even in a healed space. They hadn't even, awakened to be healed or know how to kind of navigate through that. So when you in a when you in the system of the world, and it's designed for you to think like that, everybody thinking like that.
Yeah,
When that ain't the way to be thinking.
yeah.
So it's like, oh, I just thank God for his grace. I thank God for his mercy all the time, for just being able to keep me held up. Like, and even then, I definitely was not in a relationship with God like I am now, but I always prayed. And even if the prayers were surface level, Lord, help me with this. And it was like okay. So but what that does, like, once you encounter that brokenness, once that trauma or that brokenness takes place, right, you start to operate with a veil, with a
Yeah.
veil on, because deep down inside, that hurt is still there. Deep down inside, that pain is still there. It's still a wound. It is bleeding, right? So then you start to bleed on other people, not knowing knowingly that you're bleeding on other people, but you're bleeding. Then the next thing, not only are you bleeding on other people, but you're wearing that veil. So now with the perception of what you're giving off when you're out, you perceiving like everything is okay.
Right.
You're giving off that everything is fine. Oh, we're well, we're good. It looks really good. That's what it looks like. But what does it really feel like when you really take a moment to evaluate the situation and go back? What does that really, where do you end up?
And let me just say this, during times like that, a prayer that I have learned to pray is, God, what is your design? What is your original design for my life? Take me back to your original design for my life,
Mhm.
over my relationships. God, what is your original design for this marriage that I'm in, for this relationship that I'm in, for this friendship? What is your original design for your purpose in my life to be done, for your will to be done in my life? Where is it that you want my foot to step? What these are things that, once again, all roads point back to your father. It
Mhm.
points back to your father. So she'll tell me sometimes how you have been broken and you continue to walk. You were walking in trauma. You were walking in brokenness. How did you carry that?
Mm. So I realized that my entire life I have been living broken. Okay.
Mm.
And until I came to that realization, I couldn't change it. But a point in time in my life when I was at my brokenness, when I was down at the bottom of the dumps, is when my youngest brother passed. And I did not know where life was going to go. And I feel like that's literally when my life changed and made me start actually questioning life, why I'm here, and the situations that I was going through. After my youngest brother passed, I literally moved back home to a place that I was really running from because, I didn't want to get stuck. I didn't want to be like everyone else, get stuck um, in my hometown, living the 9 to 5 life, just wasting away. All
Yeah.
of the drama, it was full of drama and just like limiting mindsets, limiting beliefs. Um, but because of that, because I was away at school and I was somewhere by myself, when my brother passed, I literally started having mental breakdowns where I couldn't function. And so I had to move back home with family. I had to move closer to family to have people around me. But at the same time, me trying to run back to family, you know, the bad got worse. The bad got worse. Literally moving with family members, and it just seemed like life was just throwing every curveball that it could. Me, literally checks being garnished and only bringing home $400 a paycheck. Working as a manager, working overtime, working at other stores, and no matter what I did, $400 a paycheck with car note, with rent to pay, to the place that I was staying, to the person that I was staying with wanted more money than I had to
Yeah.
offer. And it was like literally I just went into this deep dark depression. And it went from that to me wanting to about to go homeless, ready to live in my car. And no matter what I did, even, I tried to get on government assistance and they went to hauling, my pay was too much, even though I was bringing home nothing. So it was literally like everywhere that I turned, it was like, Lord, what is this? The
Yeah.
worst is getting worse. And me living in depression and literally, okay, to moving with another family member and not having no money, but saving money so that I could file bankruptcy, and then having given that person, the little money that I did have, to that being stolen and taken away from me when I had nothing. When I say I was at my lowest, where I was questioning God, why am I here? I don't want to be here. Thoughts started running through my mind, Lord, I don't want to be here. But the kick of it is, no one would ever know. I've
Oh,
always been this happy person, this big old bubbly personality, this big old smile. All you see is the smiling cheeks. And you would never know that I was dying inside. You would never know that I didn't want to be here no more. No one ever knew. And it was to the point where, the facade became another personality.
yeah.
The facade became me literally drinking a low-key, high-key alcoholic,
Throwing it back.
always having liquor
Throwing
in
it
my
back.
car, always having flasks on me. I had 2 flasks. I always had me a bottle in the car. I always had to mix brown and white, that's a whole testimony there. Even in order to feel
Yeah.
the effects of alcohol, it was that bad where my tolerance was that high. And a whole nother personality. Lauren, that was back in the days, but Lauren was the personality that came out. Lauren was the complete opposite of Shia. Shia is quiet, reserved, you know, in the corner. Lauren was the party girl, down for whatever, you know, out there at the parties. Even the family members started asking, you know, where's Lauren? Is Lauren showing up? It was never Shia. But it was like I had to literally live in a facade of myself while I was dying, and no one ever knew. That's when I was my brokenness. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. And people got used to that false identity.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, God's so good at living a lie, you ain't even know I was lying no more. You just took it for the truth. You just took it for the truth. Listen.
And that's where the problems come, because people, that's what they want though, because it makes them comfortable. Because it's okay if you're hurting, but if I don't know that you're hurting, it's okay if, you know, I know that something is wrong, but I'm not comfortable enough to step into that position to help you. I don't want to even ask you if you are okay, because I don't want to deal with your problems, or I don't want, because I don't know how to, or I've never had anyone to empathize with me. I don't know how to empathize with you. So it's okay that you're hurting. It's okay that you're doing what you're doing to hurt and harm yourself. It's okay, because, you know, that's what they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're constantly, again, I'm so broken on the inside. Y'all can't even see this, but y'all so used to me showing up being this, oh, I'm the life for the party, I'm the life for the party, you know, type of girl, that the pain that I'm masking, no one even can identify that something is even wrong. And it's so many women right now, still to this day, that will walk around masking like everything is okay, but deep down inside there's pain. I just think, like, I even look back sometimes, I'll be like, oh my gosh, like compared to where I am right now, I just look back and see the behaviors of even my own self, or just sometimes looking at the behaviors of other people. You just be like, wow, you're consistently doing this because you're hurt and you don't even know how to deal with or even know how to touch the surface of the pain that you have. And it's like, until you tap in and tackle that, to touch on that, to get relief from that, you're always going to be in a state of masking. So it's like, it's a lot of people walking around right now, full-fledged mask on. Can't even be their true authentic, false identities. Can't even be your true self, because you're masking this pain that you're walking in. If you think about the excessive consumption of alcohol, the need to always feel like you gotta smoke, or you gotta be high, or you gotta be on some drugs. What you running from? You running from something.
That's the T.
What you running from?
You're running.
What you running from?
I done ran before, because I know I used to be, honey, it's Friday night, baby.
I was a runner. I was a track star. You hear me? I was a runner. I was a track star, baby. I was running for my life, and I kept running into dead ends. I kept running into Jesus. I kept running into, I don't know where you're going, but you ain't got too many. Come on, you ain't got too many more options, boo. Like, it's getting real scarce out here. You doing the same things, and this is a cycle that's forever going, and that's how the enemy wants you to be. He wants you to be in this rat race. He wants you to keep going in the same circle, same circle, same circle. Well, one day it'll get better. When is that day gonna come? When you gonna reap your reward? When are we going to start living in the overflow? When are we going to get to the land of milk and honey? Huh? Yeah, the enemy came to steal, kill, and destroy. My God, but God came to give you everlasting life. When are you going to have everlasting life more abundantly? When are we going to get to the abundance? When does that time come where we're no longer satisfied with happiness, little bits and pieces of happiness, but we want to live in overflow of joy? When is the joy going to come? Hello?
But see, that's the thing. That's the key thing. That's the thing right there. It's like, nobody, I mean, I'm not saying nobody, but when you're so caught up in the world and you're living that worldly life, you know, sometimes, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm talking about me here, right? I was playing that lukewarm. I was playing, I'm in the world over here, but you know, I'm still praying. I'm asking God to help me, to forgive me, to do this. See, we sometimes, and what was, you know, how, you know, when people when you were younger and they was teaching you how to pray, they was teaching you how to ask God for stuff, to ask God for things that you wanted, for the tangible things, right? They wasn't teaching you how to ask God to deliver you from things. They wasn't teaching you how to ask God, Lord, I have this feeling in me that I want it to be gone, and I don't even know how to get it gone. How do I get there?
No. You know why they wasn't though? Because a lot of times we learn to suppress those feelings because people don't talk about it.
Yes,
We
yes.
don't talk about it enough. So I don't know how to go through because number one, I never had the blueprint. I never learned how to go through. I didn't see it from my mom and daddy. I didn't see it from anybody who was going through it because they never said they were going through it.
Mm-hmm. Never want to talk about it. Always want to brush everything under the rug. Oh, what happened in this house? Stay in this house. That's the problem.
And that's
That's
where
the
the
problem.
series of
That's why I got
brokenness
to get up out this
continues.
house.
That's why nobody knows how to navigate through anything. That's why nobody knows how to navigate. That's why we
Just
can't
a
get
cipher.
it figured out. It's because we want to keep sweeping. No, honey. We finna pull this rug up. Let's pull this rug up. I need to
Stories have
pull the
got
rug
to
up.
get told because they have to pass down to other generations. They have to know how to see, how to be guided through these dangerous seen and unseen. I know God got you, but boo, just in case you need a manifestation, something physical to rely on. Listen, grandma got you, mama got you, mama done been through that. I've been through where you trying to go. I did the same thing. I did the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like, even with me, it's the same as what you said. Like, girl, living lukewarm. Who? I love a good drink. I love a good drink, honey. I ain't even gonna hold you. I loved a good drink. And God is like, okay, you're gonna keep on running. You're gonna keep on running from me. All right, now you're gonna keep on drinking. And guess what? That drinking gonna lead you right into destruction. That little wanting to, hit it real quick, that's gonna lead you right into destruction.
Because that's all it's like. It's for you to get a taste of it. You just,
Just a taste.
you get a little taste of it. And when you get that little taste, you're like, I like this. I might want to keep on. I might
And it's
pick it
just
up.
for the moment.
But then you start thinking you sneaking and doing it, right? You're sneaking. You can't have nothing. You ain't sneaking.
God
You
sees
have it from
everything.
yourself and from your peers, from the people around you. But God
Yeah.
sees and knows all. And let me
Yeah.
tell you something. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to, when you really decide, because again, where I was going at before was, we get scared, right? Because we're like, oh, when you think about the walk, or you think about, really fully surrendering to God, because you're in the world and you want to continue to play this worldly game, or you want to continue to please the people that's of the world that's around you, you're gonna play. And it's like you will get to a certain point and then, okay, I'm finna go back to the streets. It was better over there. It just felt good. Yeah, see, it feel real good. It feels amazing. I'm
But you
sure we
know
all
what?
have.
Sometimes people want to stay in the world because of the recognition that they get from being in the world.
Yes.
Sometimes that's their only comfort. Sometimes in the world will make, let me tell you something. The world, social media, it'll make you feel like you okay?
Top
It
dog.
will make you
Big
feel
dog.
like you it. And it's like then, but when like I feel like when I started this journey with God, I started losing friends, I started losing family, I started losing these people who I thought we was gang, ride or die, ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And these people started falling off. And a lot of times, we see the process of people, well, we don't see the process, but we see people at the top, and it's like they tell their story, oh, I didn't have nobody. And people are fearful of that. People are fearful of that because let me tell you something. God is illumination. So anything that you have even been dealing or struggling with, come on, people don't even like to go to therapy because they don't want to tell the truth. They don't
Come
want to talk
on.
about what happened to them. They don't want to talk about what they really dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So when you take this journey with God, God is going to start illuminating stuff. All of the stuff that you've been trying to hide, all of the stuff that you've been running away from, that, let me tell you something, that pride, yeah, that got to go. That ego, yeah, that got to go. Listen, God walks you through this path, through this journey, through this thing. And I think sometimes like people are fearful of that. People are fearful of that walking alone because they don't know what that looked like. And they don't know if they can endure to even get to the other side.
And it's uncomfortable. And let's
It's
talk about it.
uncomfortable.
Because when we start going through the process, when we start making the changes, then we're under attack. We're
Yeah.
not only under attack by the enemy, but we are under attack by those who are comfortable with us being broken. We are under
Yes.
attack by those family members who want us to stay the way that we were and don't know how to even mentally process that we are changing because they've been stuck the same way their entire life and that's all that they've seen. That's when, all the true attacks start happening. And God will remove you away from family, away from friends who aren't aligned to walk with you in that time and in that season. When I first started, God, one of the first things that God told me to do was cut off my best friend. Did I want to do that? No, I boo-hoo cried. But God made it so clear to the point of where there was something that happened that even I couldn't even justify. And it had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It had everything to do with what I witnessed.
Yeah.
But God said, I'm taking you on a different path. And yes, I love her. Yes, we went through some things. Yes, I still love her. But could she be aligned with me at the time, at this walk? No, because right now we're going through two different things. And changing, people will start attacking you because you are changing. So it's
You know why?
not just
Because
from
people want the meals, but they don't want the ministry.
mm-hmm.
People, as long as I was texting them, hey, bro, we popping out, we going to the club tonight.
Baby,
as long as I was having
lit.
a bottle, having drinks in my hand, when we getting lit, when we doing this, oh, they was right there, baby. As long as we sitting there, twerking, as long as we, going up, they were right there. But soon as I started, like, all right, I'm taking this walk with God serious. They start seeing. I started actually changing. It was a transformation, baby. Let me tell you something. They was falling like flies. They was falling like flies. I looked all over, couldn't find nobody. Okay.
Ooh, let me tell you something, honey. When you said that, when you just said that, when you were in that world and you were the life of the party, they loved you. They was around you. When you could show up when they needed you, they would, oh, that was the best. You was the best person in the world. But the moment you decided to submit to God's will and to give God a yes, and also to give yourself a yes, because you're not just giving God a yes, you're giving yourself a yes.
Yeah.
You're giving yourself the approval at this point to choose you,
Yeah.
to choose you to do better, to choose you to learn what's right and what's wrong, to choose you to decide, okay, this no longer serves me. This is no longer entertaining to me. This is not it. And when you decide that, honey, like you said, I searched all over, baby, they fell off. And it was like, ooh. So then that's when you talk about when God takes you to that place and they start falling off, that's when he really isolates you to show you who you really are.
Yes.
But you got to be receptive to what he's trying to show you. And sometimes we'll be disobedient and be like, no, I can't. I got to go back over here to them because, they're my friends and they love me and they always been there for me. And we've been ride or die since this age and we've been doing it for this amount of time. Let me tell you something.
And let me just
When
say,
when you align with God's will, when you're aligning with God's will, things are gonna die because you are being planted.
You're dying to yourself.
You dying to yourself.
but how do
You
you
dying to yourself.
choose you when nobody else ever chose you? Nobody else ever chose you. How do I know to choose myself? How do I know how to choose myself? So, Shia, give me an example of how you discovered how to choose yourself. What allowed you to choose yourself?
The only answer that I can have for that is God. I wanted different. At that time when he pulled me in, at that time when he really started communicating to me, that was when I was at my lowest. That's when I started questioning everything. That's when I wanted change because it was like, Lord, I want to leave this place, but I know I don't want to leave this place. So I know that there is more. So there is only a way to go up. So I have to choose me. I have to want change. I have to figure out the things that will make me feel better, that will improve me. And basically it was me starting a relationship with God. when I started an intimate relationship with God. Let me get that right. Not the religion, not the church, not the tradition, not what my mama said, my daddy said, my grandma said. A real intimate relationship with God. And it was a process of me wanting love, but knowing that there was only one person that can really show me real, true love, because everyone in my life, everyone who has ever been in my life has hurt me. Everyone who I've ever encountered, I knew that they were broken people. God started opening my eyes to the brokenness. So I had to want change, but I also had to have a real intimate relationship with God. And yes, that came with more brokenness. It very much did. It came with a process, a very hard process. I'm still going through, but it's almost to the end. But I knew that there was more. But I knew that the process with him was actually bringing me things that made me feel good, that made me see more, that I was worth more. It was making me see more value in myself. And it was able for me to even remove myself out of the equation and think about God. Think about what he wants for me, not what I want. Think about what his definition of love is, not the broken definition of love that I have always had and experienced by everybody. There was only one person that could give me that, and that actually made me strive for that love, which then changed my identity in the process. Yes, it came with extreme highs, it came with extreme lows, but at the same time, I was able to see how I was maturing. I was able to see how I was healing. I was able to see that there was more to life than what I seen in my neighborhood, in my family, in my city. There was more to life. So it started actually expanding my mind, which then made me expand my thoughts about myself.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Let me tell you something. When you again going through that process, we don't even understand. It tells us in John chapter 2, verse 15, that if you be of the vine and you are a branch, God is going to prune you. He is going to cut off the old things so that you can bear new fruit. So all of that process that you were just talking about is like that is what God does to us. He is going to make sure that he prunes us so that we can bear the fruit that he wants us to have. Because the fruit that the world wants us to have, that ain't what God wants for us. And if you fully surrender, you're trying to submit to his will, honey, you're going to go through that process. And it's not going to be easy. It is going to hurt. It's very painful. But the suffering that you do for God, oh my God.
There is
Will he
glory at the end of it.
Will he get the glory?
There is only one way to the glory. Come on.
Yes. So, Whitney, I got something for you. So I would like for you to talk to us about a scenario when you were operating in your brokenness, and how did you overcome that? Just give us a little backstory, a little make a long story short, girlfriend.
I was operating in my brokenness almost like she said, honestly, all of my life, almost up to now. I was always in search of my identity. When growing up, I was the type of teenager where I had the blonde hair, honey. I had the goals in my mouth. I was trying to figure out who I was, and I was always a creative. So I always like to create and mix and match stuff, and put stuff together. And throughout my life, these labels and titles that people put on me, I carried that. And I think I kind of more so when I got a little older and I started getting in my bag, you know what I'm saying, and I started like I'm being like, all right, I felt like I was somebody now. What broke me was when I was having my son. And while I was pregnant with my son, I was also going through a divorce at the same time. And mind you, I never wanted kids for real. I always thought I was just gonna be, the rich auntie. I was good with being that. I always picture my life as being a rich auntie. My nieces and nephews, they'll come up to me, I give them whatever they want, and guess what? They go home. And so when I got pregnant and I was already going through a divorce, it just shook my life upside down because I'm like, God, I know you lying, because how you gonna allow me to get pregnant? And let me just say, like, we always say stuff like, oh my God, I'm so shocked I'm pregnant. Of course I was married. You know what I'm saying? Of course all of that stuff. But at the time, like I said, we were going through a divorce, so I didn't expect to be pregnant. because it was a long time. Okay, let's just say that. So I wasn't expecting to be pregnant. So it's like when I found all of this stuff out, you know, yeah, I had to push through. I had to push through that heartache, that pain, that trauma. I had to push through because my son needed me.
Mhm.
And I realized that I was so in fear of raising my son in like a single family home because I was raised with two parents. So, of course, naturally, that's what I wanted for him. I wanted him to have a family. And even though God turned that thing around, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, at the time, you know, I wanted him to have, you know, two parents. I wanted him to be able to go to his mama and his daddy in the same house. And, you know, we develop him and mold him and shape him and, you know, together under one roof. And I realized because of my perception of that, just thinking like, oh my God, he gonna be missing out. Oh my God, he ain't gonna be like the other boys. Oh my God. And then I'm on top of all of that, I'm a girly girl. So I ain't even gonna hold you. I was like, how am I gonna raise a boy? You know what I'm saying? How am I gonna raise a man to be a man and all he gonna see about his mama is me picking out clothes and putting on heels and doing makeup? You know, it didn't make sense. And that's one of the things that I think really yielded me to God, because it's kind of like, God, I don't have this thing figured out. I need you to help me raise my child. You know, I need you to help me be a good parent. I need, and that's, this is going back to things that you could talk to your father about, because I think so many times like we don't go to God with what it is that we really need and what it is that we really want. We don't go to God with the simple things. And but you know we serve a big God, but God is a big God that also takes care of the small things too.
Yes.
You know, he's an intimate God. He's your friend. And I think that, you know, I just had to go back to God. I had to go back to God and tell God, like, help me with this thing. Help me to be a great mom. And let me just say also, you know, so many times when we have kids, we want to raise our kids in the way that we wished our parents would have raised us. You know, whatever we feel like we were missing from our parents, that's initially how we raise our kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
I even went to God with that. Like, I don't want to raise him the way that I feel like I should have been raised, right? Because I feel like even with that, I'm gonna miss out on how he needs me to raise him. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna miss out on the mother that he needs me to be. So my prayer had to go back once again, and it was, God, help me to not only parent but raise this child in the manner and in the form that he needs. However, I need to be, whatever mode I need to be in, whatever type of mom I need to be for him, for my son, allow me to be that. In times that I need to be stern, God, listen, help me to discipline this boy. In time I need to be a little bit more loving, help me to fulfill these roles, right? Help me with that. And yeah, I managed to get through because I have a smart, awesome, incredible, handsome little boy, who's like a little man. But God definitely had to help me with that because, baby, I was just broken, and I had that because I was broken. I seen broken. I
Yes.
seen broken. The way I saw was I projected my fears and what my reality showed me to be that I was broken. I projected that onto him. I felt like because I was broken and I was dealing with so much, he was gonna be broken. I remember being pregnant and I literally used to like put headphones on my stomach and play gospel music, and I used to pray over my womb like, God, please, I know I've been crying, you know, but please don't make my baby no cry baby, God. Please don't make him too soft, God. Listen, I used to be praying those prayers because I was just so afraid of him being, you know, what I was in that season that I was pregnant. I was so afraid of that. So yeah.
So basically we could say this because that leads me into my next question about how did that brokenness at the time affect your self-worth? But you just said a lot
Mhm.
just then when you said what you were experiencing, you were praying to God not to project that onto your child, because again,
Yeah.
God knows us from when we are in our mother's womb, but
Mhm.
the enemy also does too. So the things that we speak out of our mouth and that we allow to take place can also fester within our womb. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want my child to feel rejected. I want him to know that he's loved. So before we even start planting that seed, Father God, I'm going to need you to take care of this
Yeah.
right here. because right now I'm so broken and I'm in the midst of my mess. I
Yeah.
don't even know how to really process this. I don't even really know how to feel. So when you talk, you like I said, you pretty much answered the question. But if you want to elaborate a little bit more on how did that brokenness affect your self-worth as you were pregnant, and going through this?
Yeah. Okay. So before I say that, before I elaborate on that, I also want to say that, girl, it's a statistic, right? And it shows that happy homes that develop whole and happy kids is not actually even having a two-parent household, and it's not actually having the father there. It's the mother. It's the mother's happiness, right? Everything is depicted on the mother. If the mother is full, happy, whole, guess what? Them kids gonna be a-okay. They gonna be a-okay. So when I also seen that, it made me go back and be like, all right, let me stop worrying about everybody else and what I don't have, and let me, make sure I'm taking care of me and doing what it is that I have to do so I can be the best mom that I can be.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said, it made me question my value, and it made me feel like that's all that was for me. Like I had to accept that. I had to accept that. And that's the thing. Like sometimes when people bring they mess our way, we feel like, okay, well, I got to accept that. Like that's what I'm worth. That's what I'm worth, and that's just how the cookie crumble. And I just got to go with the flow, and I just got to hang on in there and figure it out. Nah, 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 baby. That ain't, listen, access denied. That's not what I accept over here. I don't know what them people do over there. I don't know what them folk do over there, but it's not over here. Not over here. Not in this home. Not in this front porch. Yes, I'm sweeping around my own front porch. Not over here. So I think that made me create boundaries because I've never had boundaries. And I remember it was a woman who said, imagine walking down the street, right? And you're walking down the street and you see this big, beautiful mansion, and this mansion has no windows, no doors. You don't see no alarm. You don't see nobody in the mansion, and it's a whole bunch of money and gold and cash and jewelry, just like all inside the mansion. And you walking up on the mansion, you don't see no gate, you don't see no guard dog, you don't see nothing. Let me tell you something. 95% of those people are gonna walk inside that mansion. They're gonna put something in their pocket and they're gonna act like they ain't do nothing. They're gonna walk right out. And you know what I'm saying? That's how our life is. When you have no alarm system, hello, when you have no fence, when you have no windows, you have no security system, you have no protection, that's you not having boundaries. You have got to have boundaries. Boundaries is it sends a security alert to the enemy. You done came too far. You done did. You done crossed that line. This is not your jurisdiction. This is not your property. And we have to have boundaries. We have to be able to say, not in my house, not with me. You may play under everybody else, like not with me. And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay because guess what? That also depicts your self-worth. What you think about yourself, what you keep accepting, because what you continue to accept is what will continue. That's what you allow. That's what you allow. And you teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to talk to you. You teach people these things. And people have got to be taught. I'm sorry. People have got to be taught because sometimes we get so busy in this thing called life, right? Even when we go to restaurants, right? I always take a minute every time I go to a restaurant and they finna take my order. Sometimes the people don't even look my way, honey. They be like, yeah, how can I help you? And I be like, how you doing today? Let's slow down. Let's slow down. Cause and but you have to allow people to reset. And yes, people make mistakes. Yes, people, sometimes you got to teach them, but you have to allow people also to reset. Like you have to reset when it comes to me. I don't want you just doing and throwing stuff in my direction, and no. I want you to be mindful of me the same way I'm mindful of you. So those boundaries are important.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely,
learning that
absolutely.
so much right now in this season. And it's like I'm used to, because of the trauma, because of the hurt, because of the pain, because of the dependency on sometimes, needing other people, that I have experienced where I become a people pleaser. Or I don't set those boundaries immediately because, one, I'm going to see how you operate to see how I'm supposed to operate. But then, when it does come to putting up those boundaries, people get offended.
Yeah.
When you choose you, people get offended. And you
Mm-hmm.
have to learn to ignore the thoughts of other people. You are here to only please one person, and that is God. And you have to learn that it's okay to protect yourself. Boundaries are not only for you, though, it's for them also. So
It's for the
that
other
they
person.
are able to even understand how what love. Boundaries are love.
Yeah.
Boundaries are I can't take on more than what I can carry.
Yeah.
And I can't allow you to put expectations on me that I can't carry because I'm going to fall. I'm going to fumble. I'm going to disappoint you every time. So I have to be able to articulate how much I can carry and what I will allow you to throw on me. Because
Yeah.
people will just throw and throw and throw, and you down here suffocating, and they over there fine, ain't got nothing on their plate because you don't let them throw
Living their
everything
whole
on
best
you.
life. Mm-hmm.
The
So that
moment you
is extremely important.
the moment you set the boundaries, you become the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because again, people are used to people are used to
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
like proximity, right? That's like access. People are used to having direct access to you, right? So just like, let's just say the president. We just gonna say that if I'm the president, everybody don't have access to me because I got my secret agents and everything around me securing me. Those are boundaries. Those are boundaries that you can't cross. So it's just like that. When you set boundaries for yourself, the first thing the people that are used to having access to you do is they get mad. Oh,
Yeah.
you acting brand new. Oh, you this. Oh, you that. That's not it. It's just like I have to. If I love me enough, I have to set boundaries with you because if I don't, you're going to continue to take advantage of me. You're going to continue to not do you know that you're emptying my cup. You are depleting me because I'm allowing you to have access to me when you feel like it, when it's convenient for you. And that's not how it works. So when
Yeah.
I tell you huge on the boundaries, setting the boundaries, and I'm going to tell you too, listen, if you listen, I want to have a good relationship with you, but if you cross this boundary, then I'm going to address it with you right then and there. The moment and that's the thing, the moment a person crosses your boundary, I myself personally, I address it right then and there. And I give them an option. Either we can move this way or we can move this way. The choice is yours. But I'm going to let you know you just crossed a boundary and I do not appreciate that. That is not comfortable for me. So I'm going to ask you, we can either reroute the conversation or I'm gonna sever ties with you. That is
But
it,
let's
and that's
be
the bottom.
honest. Let's talk about. So I believe in before we go forward anywhere, baby, we got to go back. We got to
Okay.
know where we came from. Why is the boundary there in the first place? Because I was the type of person, I did fall into people pleasing because that's just who I am. I'm a giver. I give without barriers. I give without thinking twice. Like I give without saying, nah, I shouldn't give this too much. I'm not that type of person. I give love freely, right? But sometimes the love that you so give freely, people take advantage of. I never used to have boundaries with you. It was my goal to please you. It was my goal, to be who you need, whatever you need. I'm a friend first. So it was my goal to, just be that support system, be that helpmate, whatever the case may be. But because of what you did, that you felt like was okay, now I got to go over here and I got to get an alarm system. I
Yeah,
don't even like alarms, but now I have to because you just taught me something. You taught me something not about myself, but you just taught me something about you.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? I believe you.
Yes.
I believe
Mm-hmm,
you. I
mm-hmm.
believe you. I believe you. I believe whatever it is that you show me. And I'm the type of person, baby, you innocent until proven guilty. You're innocent until proven guilty with me. I don't naturally just, oh, I'm not gonna talk, or I'm not gonna do that, or I'm not gonna do that. No, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Anybody who ever meet me, baby, you got a fresh slate.
Mm-hmm.
If you say that you're not a liar, guess what? I'm gonna take you for your word. I'm gonna be listen, if John come up to me and say, Whitney ain't no liar, I'm gonna say, well, no, John ain't no liar. I'm gonna have his back. I'm gonna
Yep.
say John ain't no liar. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? But as soon as you start lying now, John, we got a problem. Because I'm around here going to bat for you. And you up here telling tales.
That's it. That's
Make it make
it.
sense.
Mm-hmm,
So the
mm-hmm.
boundaries are there. It's not something that, people know, initially, because, you know, we're called to love like Christ. You know, we're called to give that agape love. That's unconditional love. That's unconditional. But what's the cost?
Mhm.
Jesus paid it all on Calvary. Why should I?
That part.
Listen.
Listen.
Is that the
I'm
truth?
I'm trying to love like Christ. I promise you I am. It's my heart's desire. Listen, my desire is God's design. Okay. It is my heart's desire to love you in a way that you know, without a shadow of a doubt. Listen, Whitty love me. But at some point, enough is enough. Flag on the flag.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
about to warn you, or I'm not about to warn you the things that you're doing because you know that you're doing them. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna go get an alarm and I'm not putting the ADT sign in the front yard. Cause once you come back, that's gonna be your repercussions. If you come back and try to continue to do the same thing, that's what you gonna have to stand on.
Yeah.
Because people be out here thinking, claiming other people is the bad guy. Oh, they just stopped talking to me. Oh, they acting different. Oh, they're not opening up to me like they were.
Yeah.
Well, baby, that's because of what you did. I
Mhm.
watched everything that you do. I watch the things that you say. I watch even the way that you respond to the things that I say to you. So
Mm-hmm.
how I move depends on how you move, how you act. And I'm not going to broadcast because I'm going to have a talk with you at first, but I'm not going to keep wasting my breath. I'm not going to keep having the same conversation with you. That's what it is.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
then you become
And sometimes you
aggressive.
have got to like move on so you can
Mm-hmm.
heal because you don't want to bleed out on other people. You don't want to carry that trauma, that heartache, that pain, that confusion. You don't want to carry that into your next. So you have got to heal. I don't want to show up as a broken me. I've been broken.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there before. I've cried my tears. I've learned my lesson. And guess what? Baby, it's a flower in full bloom on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Here is she, here I am.
Yes.
You know, you have got to heal. And so many times we stay stuck in that trauma. We learn how to operate out of that pain. And all that does is it puts up a wall for you to be able to get over to your next, for you to be able to get to the other side, for you to see what's for you on the other side. You know, you got to heal. You got to deal with it. You got to face it head on. Head on. You got to face it because you don't want to bleed out on other people. And you don't want to block what's for
Mm-hmm.
you. You know, you don't want to block your future blessings. How God gonna bless you when your hands too full? How is he gonna put anything in your hands and you so busy? Listen, you over there being bag lady. You over there, you gonna hurt your back carrying all them bags like that? Okay, you can't carry all of that stuff. Be frozen, boo. Let it go.
Come on.
Let it
Listen,
go.
listen, I want you to be at, baby, take off them coats. We
Mm-hmm.
listen, we well, on our side, we over here in Florida, baby. We ain't wearing no coats. But you have put on the coats of so many other things for all the burdens that you're bearing, all the weight that you're carrying are coats, not necessarily that are your coats, but again, they could be coats from other people. So, honey, the bondage, I got to take that coat off, baby. The insecurity, I got to take that coat off, baby. The frustration, I got to take that coat off, baby. I'm not carrying those coats, and
The
I'm not,
pride, the
I'm not,
ego, take it
I'm not
off. The
yes,
hurt, the trauma, the pain, the betrayal, take it off. And go
yes,
back to your father and see what your father says about you. I trade in all of that for what my father says about me. My father said that I'm his daughter. My father said that in him I'm a new creation. My father said that he's forever loving me. My father said I'm victorious. What did your father say about you? You got to go back and confuse. The enemy been confusing you for way too long.
way
Okay,
too long.
it's time to throw them fiery darts back at him. Confuse the enemy. Confuse the enemy because the enemy left you for dead. He wants you to sit there and stay in that trauma, that heartache, that pain, that confusion, hello, that grief. He wants you to stay there, but you got to get up. Just the same way Jesus got up, hello, he rose from the dead. You can too. Get up,
Yes, and
boo.
don't let the troubles of other people, other problems of other people be the coats that you wear. I'm not wearing the coat for you no more. I'm done wearing the coat for you. It's time for me to choose me, and it's time for me to fix me. And as I'm fixing me, I'm setting these boundaries, I'm setting this perimeter, I'm turning on the alarm, because I'm no longer going to carry that for you. I'm no longer going to do that for you. I'm no longer going to be in that space for you. I'm no longer going to people please for you. I'm no longer going to accept the bare minimum from you. If you can't come at me with what I require, then guess what? We have nothing. It's okay. You go your way and I go mine. So we have to learn to just be okay with severing the ties in the relationships that are not serving and beneficial to you. This is not just a one-way street. It's not that I always show up for you, but nobody shows up for me. No, we need to be able to show up for each other, to support each other. It should be, this relationship is not a one-way street. So if you want that, then hey, I'm gonna leave you over there. But if you
got to
coming
go
over
back to
here,
God. You got to
yeah,
go back to God and see what is your Father saying about it.
yes,
Despite how you feel, right? Because we can't act off of feelings.
yes,
We cannot act off of feelings, baby. I didn't feel like getting up this morning. I didn't feel like taking a bath and washing my face. I didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel like it. But I have to show up. So just show up in whatever it is that God is requiring you to do in this season. Wherever he's requiring you to be, show up. Go back to your Father, put your feelings on the table, and see what's God designed for your life. Go back and say, well, God, what is your will?
yes,
What is your will? Despite how I feel, right? Despite what my situation is telling me, I'm going to be obedient, because I believe being obedient in this season is vital. It's vital to move us to our next. It's vital to move us forward. It's vital to move us into the promised land and all that our God has for us. It depends on your obedience.
yes,
So you
yes,
have to be obedient regardless of what you feel. And sometimes it's not that, God could, because they always talk about God will never put more on you than you can bear. But sometimes he does put more on that you can bear, so he can teach you what it is that you can bear.
yes,
He can teach you the very thing that you thought was gonna kill you. No, boo, you got it. Look at you, being victorious.
yes,
Look at you, trampling over the serpent's head. Come on, look at you. You can bear it. You can do it. So sometimes we pray against these, trials. We pray against this stuff from coming our way. But baby, that same thing the enemy used to block you, God used to build you. So God, I thank you. I thank you for the trials and tribulations that made me stronger. I thank you for all the problems that provoked me into purpose. God, I thank you for the pain that turned into purpose. I thank you. So that's the
yes,
posture that I believe that we always need to have. Before we try to figure it out on our own, we need to go back to our Father. We need to go back, God, what are you saying in this moment? What are you saying in this situation? What are you saying in the midst of all this that's going on? What is God's word? Whatever God commands, that's what I'm going to do. Whatever God commands, that's what I'm going to do. If God tell me to move forward, I'm going to move forward. If God tell me, wait a minute, go back, I'm going to go back. Whatever God commands.
yes,
That's
yes,
my
yes. We have to
posture.
continue.
That's my position. And I ain't
That's
coming up
it.
off it.
Yes, that's it. We got to continue to move and have a heart posture of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude should be our day-to-day motion in life, how we move towards and passing through things. Come to God with a gracious heart. Come to God with a grateful heart. Lord, I thank you for the small things, for the big things, for the minute things, even just the smallest thing. The heart of gratitude is what's going to get you to where you need to be. We need to start learning, don't just go to God and just keep asking him to do all these things for you. No, learn how to gratify and glorify and really raise his name up so that he can really move in the different areas in your life, because he's going to show you, he's going to expose to you what you need him to expose to you about you. Lord, reveal myself to me so I can fix what's wrong, Father God, because that right there is super important to me.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back, because I really want to speak on this situation right now.
Go ahead, Sheila.
When it comes to, God giving you more than you can bear, okay? God will give you more than you can bear so that you can then go to him. Because the Bible says that when we are weak, he is strong. And sometimes we have to get to that weak point, one, for him to break us down. And the breaking is one, breaking the old us, the us that the world created. And it's putting us in a place to be able to change and transform into the people that he needs us to be. In my own personal situation, Like, God had to break me, and I've been going through cycles of breaking, but it has been the refining process that I have been in, because each and every time I level up, each and every time I come out better
Period.
spiritually and physically, each and every time I become closer to the person that God has called and created me to be. I just had to go through a cycle of a season of breaking what last month. Lord, I don't know why you have me here. I don't know what's going on. God, are you sure? Are you even here with me? But I had to break even to get vulnerable, not only with myself, but to get vulnerable with God.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I know the fight that I'm in. I know my position with God. I know that He is there with me. I know the suffering that I have to get through for the glory that is on my life. I know that I have to suffer, and people don't like to understand that, but I have to suffer for the people that God is going to send to me for me to impact, because I have to be able to empathize and sympathize with what their situation is.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't have that calling, so everyone won't understand that, but I know the calling that's on my life. So God had to break me, and even in order for me to go and communicate to Him the things that I need, the things that I'm going through, for me to even be vulnerable with myself and say, girl, you are feeling this. Because I like to push my feelings away. I like to push my feelings to the side. But when I was able to go to Him, that's when I was able to pour out. That's when I was able to empty myself enough for Him to be able to pour into me, for Him to
Yeah.
then show up and say, daughter, I've been waiting on you to come to me all this time. I've been here. Yes, I am a God that knows everything, but I'm also a God who is your Father. I want you and I need you to understand me as your Father. You come to me. You can come to me for everybody else in situation. You can just say you're doing this because of what I'm telling you to do. Yes, you have surrendered, but have you surrendered to yourself? Have you understood that I'm not just a God? I'm not just somewhere up here. I'm right here with you in this process. I need you to understand that even if you have experienced hurt and harm, heartaches from the people that love you, from even your earthly father, I'm not him. I'm God. All you got to do is come to me and ask me. And my daughter, I will deliver to you what you ask me. But I'm waiting for you to get that vulnerable with me. I'm waiting for you to come to me as your Father. And when I say I did that, then God literally started answering me in new ways. I knew that I had passed the test. He started sending people to me to confirm the things that He was saying to me. He was sending me obstacles and things where I knew I passed the test. Because if this would have happened to me last year, if this would have even happened to me last month before I went through this breaking, before I went through this unraveling to get closer to Him, I wouldn't have handled it. But this time, now I know that I have passed the test.
Yeah.
I have ascended to new heights, to greater heights. I have ascended closer to the person that God has originally created me to be. And sometimes we don't like to be vulnerable. We don't like to, go through the suffering. But how do you get olive oil? You have to crush the olives. And sometimes that pressing is hard. It's hard, baby. It's hard. My story, I can't wait to tell my full story. And I'm still going through the process. But God has even showed me, and last week He gave me a vision where it was literally the enemy was throwing targets and darts at me. And all I could see in the vision was floop, floop, floop. It's just all sliding off. Baby, I'm so oily now. The glow is real. I'm so oily now because of the process that I went through. I'm so oily now that no matter what the enemy tries to say, no matter what the human tries to say, or the spirit that is operating in the spirit, you can't harm me. It does not faze me anymore. Before, I probably would have cried. I would have been mad. I would have been sad. Oh, this person hurt me. Baby, no, you have no effect on me anymore because I have gone through the process. Even if you've tried to hurt me, you have helped me become more oily to sustain and do the things that God has even put me here to do.
Yeah.
That's the kicker. That's the kicker right there.
That is. That is. And I think it's so important what you said. Like, you have to go back to God. Remember, He's not just, okay, God, I'm God. Like, yes, He's God, but He's our Father. And I recently in an episode of my podcast, I talked about this, how God wants to hear things and see things from your perception. Yes, he's an all-knowing, all-seeing God, right? But he wants to hear it from your perception, your point of view. And I use the example of, imagine you taking your kid to daycare. You take them to daycare, and by the time you pick your baby up, you know, your baby happy to see you, your baby run into your arms, you pick up your baby, you embrace them, y'all go and do what y'all do. You know, you tuck your baby in at night, and you know the day is the day. Now you go the next day and you go pick up your baby, and it's the same routine. It's kind of like the same cycle. Every time you pick up your child is always happy. You excited to see your child excited to see you. You go home, y'all do what y'all do until that one day where you stop and you ask your child, you say, "How was daycare today?" And your child look at you and just begin to cry. You're like, "Why are you crying?" And your child is like, "Well, I don't like it because little Timmy be kicking me, and Miss Watermelon won't never let me go to the bathroom, and they make me pee on myself, and they change me right before you come, and I can't never go outside to play, and I da da da." And you'll be like, "What?" And your first reaction as a parent will be, "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me?" And guess what? Your next action, let me tell you something. The Bible talks about what type of son, if he asks for this, you'll give him the opposite. You won't do that. You won't do that to your child. You're going to probably take your child out of that daycare. You're going to go to that daycare and tell the people a piece of your mind. You know, you're going to straighten whatever it is that's wrong. All because your child opened up their mouth and said something. You have got to say something. God wants to hear it from your mouth. That's your daddy, boo. That's your father. Father God. That is your Father. He wants to hear it from your perception. He wants to know, "God, this hurts. God, this is a lot. God, I'm tired. God, I can't see my way. God, can you make it rain manna? Okay, give me bread. Ask God for what you need. Ask him for your provision. Ask him for your healing. Ask him what you need. Tell God, go to your Father and ask him what it is that you need. We so busy going to man to fill a void that only God can fill. You can't keep going to man expecting man to fulfill all these jobs and roles when only God can do it. It's the only God can do it type situation. You know why? Because God wants to get the glory. If you go to man can't wait to tell somebody that you asked them. Man can't wait to tell somebody, "Oh, you remember how I helped you." Man can't wait to take the recognition for something that God is trying to do. God wants the glory from your story. He wants it. He wants it. And you're not going to get to the end of your story. You're not going to get to the promised land. You're not going to get over to the other side without your Father. It's impossible. It's impossible to do it without God. Hello? But with me, all things are possible. With your Father, all things are possible. He will make your crooked path straight. Hello?
And
So
Whitney,
act
you
like
just made
you know
me,
who you are, and
yeah,
act like you know who your daddy is.
you just made me realize something so important. And that's why, like, these conversations, and that's why having a sisterhood is important. Because the first time when you told me that, that's what broke me. That's what made me realize. But also just hearing it again, because that's what actually made me go to God with my problems. Just hearing it from that scenario, real life scenario. But it just, what I just heard was literally the same facade that I was putting on with my family when I was putting on this big old smile, goofy, bubbly. The same facade that I was doing in real life was the same thing that I was doing with God unknowingly.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that so many, our life and the traumas and the things that we have been through impacts us so much. It even impacts the relationship that we have with God. And he's not a man. He does not treat us the way that mankind treats us. He does not treat us the way our mama, our daddy, our sister, uncle, cousin, anybody off the street, anybody in the neighborhood. He does not treat us like that. Yes,
You so
he
quick
is
to
a
call
God
your
too.
homegirls, but you can't call Jesus. You so quick to call your cousins them, but you can't call Jesus. You so quick to tell everybody your business, but you can't call Jesus. You so quick to run to your neighbors, but you can't call your Father. You can't open up your mouth and say, God, I don't like it. And I'm not questioning what it is that you're doing, but God, I'm asking for strength to see me through. Because if it's my by my will, if it's by my will, baby, I give up right now. I will
Right
throw in the towel right now. You
now.
can
Come on.
have it. You can have it. When are we gonna start being real? And that's the thing. We going to God like God don't know us. Like God ain't create me. Like God ain't giving me my authenticity, huh? Like God ain't create what it is that I'm going through. He put me in this situation. Hello? He allowed it. He allowed it. So God, I need that internal navigation system to tell me, no, Whitney, don't keep going straight. You're gonna make a left right here, boo. I need my Father. I need guidance. I need direction. Hello? That can only come from God. That can only come from God. Oh, Whitney, how you made it this far? Go.
Can't tell you nothing else but God.
I can't even tell you. And that's why every time I open up my mouth, it's God. Every time you hear me, every time I make a post, honey, if you don't like to talk about Jesus, go ahead and unfollow me now, because it's God. He done too much for me. He been too good for me. He made too many ways out of no way. I didn't see a way. I didn't have a way. And God was the way. He is the way, the truth, and the light. This is what I know. This is not something I'm just saying out of my mouth, baby. I walked through it. I've been through it. I sacrificed for it. I fasted for it. I prayed for it. Hello? I went through the fire for it. You can't take this away from me. That's my Father. I'm the King's kid. I know who I am.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So
And
just
people don't want to go through the suffering, though. They will never know
no.
because they don't want to go through the
And
suffering.
guess what? But when you get blessed, but when you see me walking the way I'm walking, then they want that though.
Know
They
that
want
it
the
was only
promises.
God.
They want the blessings. They want the promises, but they don't want to go through the process. No, boo. You can't want. And that's why the Bible tells us not to covet another's man belongings. Right? We're not supposed to look. We're not even supposed to compare. We're not even supposed to compare, because you can't walk a mile in my shoes. You can't even put my shoes on. And it's not nothing that I'm so special. I promise you, it's not nothing that I'm so special, because the same oil that's on my life, you can get it too. You can get it too. And guess what, boo? You ain't even got to pay no money for it. You just got to get your life. You just got to go through the process. It costs what it costs, and it's not going on sale.
Definitely not going on sale, and you definitely gonna pay a price. It's pricey.
It's
This
pricey.
life.
You're going
Now,
to die.
I ain't gonna lie to you. It's
You're
pricey now.
You're going to die. You have
this
to
life,
die to yourself.
you
You
are
gotta
going.
die. Look.
This life is pricey. You are gonna die to self. But just to sum up everything that both of you ladies had just said here, right? Because it brings you back to the scripture of 2 Peter chapter 2, verse. Chapter 5, verse 7. It said, God said, cast all your cares upon him because he cares for you. And if he is your father and he says he cares for you, that means he cares about every aspect of your life. Every single aspect of your life, you need to bring it to him. Before you make certain decisions, before I make decisions, before I do anything, like, I be needing to hear from God. Like, Lord, is this really what you want me to do? I need you to show me a sign. I need you to tell me this. I need you to direct me, because I want to make sure that I'm not operating outside of your will. Because if I'm operating outside of your will, I know I got to stay outside of your will to keep whatever it is. I'm not trying to do that.
Can we pause right there? Because that's good. You just said, God, I need you to show me a sign. My God. And the Bible talks about that we will be in the times where men will ask for a sign and it won't be none. Sometimes the sign is the word of God. Go back to the word. What did God tell you? What did God tell you? Not what the prophet said. My God. What did God say? And here it comes. Larry, sometimes you have got to go to the spirit. You got to be able to ascend and descend. You have got to have spiritual eyes and ears in the seasons, especially in the seasons that we're coming up on. You have got to be filled in the spirit. Your spirit man has got to be full. Your spirit man has got to be ignited. It's got to be ignited. And I put a Facebook post earlier. I'm like, this is the perfect time to lock in. It's either you lock in now or you get locked out.
That's it. That's it.
You locked in now or you get locked out. This ain't no play. This not no play. Why you think people at the end of the road they end up believing in God? They end up coming to glory. They end up finding Jesus.
Because
That's the only way. You come to the end of the road and you realize I done did all that.
Because he is
And
the
Jesus
perfect
is still the answer.
He the perfect perfect peace. He's the perfect peace. He gonna give you that peace that surpasses all understanding. Because although your flesh see one thing and you just, I cannot understand this. Like, I cannot understand this. I cannot understand this. But God knows best. He knows all. He knows what's best for you. So there's so many different situations and scenarios that you gonna go through and experience that ain't even gonna line up and add up to what God gonna do. You ain't even gonna understand it, but it's gonna happen. He's gonna come through. But it's about you trusting and really believing and knowing that, hey, this is what God said. This is how we moving.
And we have to be mindful that what people sometimes project God as, like, people have this fairy tale idea, like, if I'm walking with God, my walk is gonna be perfect. I ain't gonna have to go through nothing. I ain't gonna have to endure no. Let me tell you something. God does just what you say that you want him to. He gonna put it to the test. Oh, you say you trust me? I'm gonna give you a situation where it seems impossible to trust me, and I'm gonna ask you again. Do you trust me? Huh? Oh, you say you believe? I'm gonna give you a situation that's unbelievable, and I'm gonna go and ask you again. You believe, sugar? Huh? Oh, you say you want faith? You say you got faith? I'm gonna give you a situation where we gonna put that faith to the test.
Anything that can be shaken will get shook.
Let's see what that faith hitting for.
Is this a firm foundation or not?
Is this a firm foundation or not? You're sinking, boo. You're sinking. I ain't gonna play with you. This is what it is. And we got so used to living in this illusion. We got so used to people, saying fairy tales and making it ain't that.
Putting them in
it
a
ain't
box.
that.
They own theology that ain't
Let me tell you
nowhere in the
something.
Bible.
Experience is the best teacher. In order for you to really gain knowledge, understanding, and clarity, do something, you have to walk through it. You have to experience it. You have to experience it. Experience life. This journey of life is a journey of self-discovery. You're literally unraveling and discovering pieces and parts that make you a whole, that make you who God says you are. That's what you're going to. You're going to the completed picture. You're going to the full picture, the full image in him. That's your journey. That's where you headed. That's where you headed. And you just have to be willing to endure. It's not like you have to have it all figured out. No, your father is walking with you. And in the times that you can't seem to walk for yourself, he'll carry you. But you just have to be willing to endure. You have to push. This is the time that we're in. You have to push. And that don't mean just pray until something happens. That means to persevere until something happens. Despite difficulty, despite it not looking like there is a way, you have got to keep placing one foot in front of the other. You wonder how people get so far in life? They keep going. They don't give up. They don't throw in the towel. That don't mean they ain't never throwing the towel. But God threw it back. And I'm so happy that he threw it back. I'm so happy that he threw it back.
Yeah.
This is what it is. This is what it looked like. This is what it is. And you cannot stay in the places and the experience that life has thrown and put on you. And that trauma and that pain, you got to get to the other side. And we are walking on the other side.
We on the other side.
I'm going to just go ahead and prophesy, declare, and decree by faith that we are on the other side. Okay?
Yes.
We have overcome. And you're looking at women who have been through it.
Yes.
You're looking at women with stories to tell for days, sugar. I listen, make a long story short, and proceeds to tell a long story.
Favorite tagline, okay?
I got stories for days, okay? If you got the time, I got the words. Because you're looking at women who have fought the good fight, who have endured, who have persevered, who have kept going, and still are continuing to go. Not that we have it all figured out, but just that we're trusting God. We're trusting God. Even in despite where we can't trace God, we're still trusting and leaning and depending on our daddy.
Yes.
Looking at a bunch of daddy girls.
It has not stopped, but God is still good. Even in the midst. Even in that, he just, again, like you said, honey, are you going to glorify me in the middle of your storm? While you persevering and going through it, while I'm pressing you and pushing you, are you still going to glorify me? Or are you going to go back? Which one you going to do? It's the choice on you.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. It's
It's
up to
up to
you.
you.
It's up to you. But
Yeah.
that's the hard part, because you be too busy trying to be a people pleaser. Stop trying to please them
And
people and worry about pleasing
please
God.
your father.
Please your father. I'm pleased. I'm about my father's business. I'm about kingdom business, and I'm about doing what God told me to do. Anything other than, it's irrelevant to me.
It's God
It ain't gonna matter.
or it's God.
It's God or it's God over here.
Because you're going to keep pleasing people and you're going to see it's not going to lead you
That's
nowhere. You're not going to get
it.
what you're expecting to get out of it. Trust me,
That's
I
it.
know. I used to people please. And so
Yeah.
people kept giving me they behind the kids, honey. And God is like, oh, now you tired. Now you coming on home.
That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Please your father.
Ladies, this is good.
So I really hope that you all enjoyed this tonight's episode, honey, because it was really good, really good. When life breaks you, because we have all been broken, we are all going through something that is breaking us. We have all been shattered in some way or another. But guess what? I just want you to hold on to this. Just hold on to 1 Peter 5 verse 7. Cast all your cares to the Lord. Even in your brokenness, cast your cares to God and see what He do for you. Even in your anger, your bitter, and all that, cast it to God and see what He can do for you. Don't just go to Him for what you need for the
Physical,
tangible
tangible.
things. Don't go to Him for the tangible things. Go to Him for the things that you can't see, that you can't muscle through on your own. And I guarantee you that He's gonna give you everything that you need. He's gonna set you up in the right position so that you can get the healing that you need, but also that He can show you who He is in your life and how He'll take care of you in spite of no matter what you're going through. God can do it. We appreciate you all for tuning in. We hope that we said something tonight that resonated with you, that just maybe it just made that baby leap. Maybe it did something that helped you realize and get another perspective on something that you're experiencing in your life and how you need to surrender. Listen, it's all on you. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you for you to choose you. When you start choosing you and then seeking God as you're doing that, He's going to reveal everything about you that you need to see so that you can correct and walk the right path. So listen, SetFree SistaHood, we invite you again to come next week at 7 p.m. We will be live once again, giving you ladies the real, the raw, the authentic experiences and stories that we've overcome.
You
And
know, and
please
don't
follow
forget
us
to
on all
share.
social networks. Please like, share, and feel free to comment. If it's something that you want us to discuss because you like the way that we dive in deep, you like our, language, something is resonating with you, please comment that. Let DM us, follow us on all social networks, and let us know, okay? Help us build this thing.
Yes, SetFree
Tell your
SistaHood.
mama,
We
your
don't just
sister,
talk, we
your
break
cousin.
chains.
Come on, tell everybody you know. Every woman, there's something that everyone can gain from these conversations. We need God. We are tired. This generation, these people now are tired of the fake, of the phony, of the hidden. Okay. It is time to reveal. God is raising up His remnant, and His remnant are the truth. His remnant are the
Yes,
fire. His
yes.
remnant are the ones who will say what needs to be
Say
said and speak
it.
from God's mouth, not religion, not tradition, not your family. It's time for His remnant to rise. So they need to see an example of what it is to be true, what it is to authentically walk in your God-given purpose and anointing. Even if you don't know how you're going to do it and execute it, now is the time for you to arise and shine and let your light shine. God is waking up His children. If this
Yes,
resonates with you, it may not even resonate with you, but it may resonate with a sister or somebody who needs to hear it. One
yes.
step at a time, just one thing at a time. It doesn't even cost you.
Again, SetFree SistaHood. We don't just talk, we break chains.
We love y'all, family. Thank you so much for
Thank you
watching.
for tuning in.
Bye.